Hey guys, Ningen here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so obviously we always do one of these every time, so those of you who follow the channel, I'm sure you knew this was coming. I always try and put it up at this time as well, because if you're watching this as soon as it goes up, this should be 12 hours before the event actually drops. And so we are going to talk team building for the INT Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta EZA. That, like I say, will be live 12 hours from when this video releases. So it's a standard 30-stage EZA. Unlike the Rose and the Vegeta Blue one, because it's been on JP first, we already know all of the details. So you can see as you start to get further down, AGL and Tech enemies units get a drop off, and then STR picks up the debuff as well when you get to stage 20. So from stage 20 onwards, you really only want to be using physical and INT units. Obviously, if you're really short on options for the team, you could bring AGL Tech or STR units as long as they are like really good tanks, but then they will only be good for tanking. They will do no damage at all. So obviously, if you want to get through it as quickly as possible, you want to use as many hard-hitting INT and physical units as possible. Obviously, physical going to be slightly better because Vegeta himself is INT. So, like I said, typical 30-stage EZA, you get all the medals to fully EZA him, you get a whole bunch of orbs. I say this every time, and I've never actually checked it, but I'm pretty sure it's enough orbs to fully rainbow a unit, or if it's not, it's pretty close to. And then, of course, you get 11 of the INT Kais, and you get 30 stones. Plus the missions, which obviously I have seen some comments before of people not being able to do like this for some reason, this like time one at level 20, but I feel like that's only for newer players, because I feel like most people, by the time you've beaten stage 30, you've just kind of accidentally done all of these missions, because you only need one character from the category in order to get this final mission done. So they are not too difficult at all. So obviously, as it says there, the weakness for this Extreme Z Awakening event is the Bond of Master and Disciple category. So if we have a look at that here, that is the team led by the INT Future Gohan. Now, I know a lot of people skipped his banner because it came out this year. Pretty much every banner that came out after Christmas has been on some people's lists of banners to skip, because they're saving up everything for the 5-year anniversary. So I know not a lot of people got this guy. I did a little bit of summoning just for the channel, but I didn't get him. So the good thing is, we of course have a couple of sub leaders, and we are going to talk about all of those options with a couple of honourable mentions as well. So obviously the easiest thing for you to do yourself is to either go to the wiki page or to filter your box by the Bond of Master and Disciple category, and you want to be looking for good physical and INT units. So we might mention a couple at the end, but let's talk about the main players here. So obviously Future Gohan is the leader. He gives 3 key, HP and attack 170% and defense 130%, so he definitely is the best leader to use if you have him. Obviously, he's not going to deal as much damage as a really hard-hitting physical unit because he doesn't have type advantage, but he's going to tank incredibly well. You probably won't see his transformation. I guess maybe when you get to stage 30, if you're using a leader with a lower leader skill because you don't have Gohan and then bringing a Gohan friend, as long as you bring a Trunks on the team, he can transform from the 4th turn. But like I say, unless you're running a lower leader skill lead yourself, you probably won't get to the 4th turn, even by stage 30. But you might, and then if you have a Trunks, he can transform, which you probably are, because if we go back to this page and just have a quick scroll down, like most of the Trunks units are on this category, and some of the better units on this category are the Trunks ones. So you probably will be bringing at least one Trunks, I would imagine. So that brings us to this guy, who I will be using as my leader, as I don't have the Gohan. I'll probably set this guy as my friend. It probably won't be too difficult to find Gohan friends though, because one thing you do find with these EZAs, even when they use a leader who not a lot of people summon for, or that you don't really see on a regular basis, obviously people are good about setting those leaders during EZA. So you probably will be able to find some Gohans. I recommend maybe using this guy for the first 15 stages or so, because you don't want to burn through all of the Gohan friends on the easier stages, and then when you get to the last couple not be able to find any, and then potentially struggle depending on what your team build is. So this guy is probably, I would say, the best leader if you don't have the Gohan, just because he obviously has type advantage, he raises attack and defense indefinitely, he changes orbs to physical so he can give you quite a lot of healing, which is really useful in an EZA since you can't use any items. So I don't know, the leader skill is a lot lower. Obviously it's 50% less attack than the Gohan, because I was going to say you could almost argue that this guy is better than the Gohan to lead this team, because he will hit a lot harder. But I guess you want to bring the highest leader skill possible. So even if you do have the Gohan, you should be bringing this guy on the team if you have him. So the other option for a leader is of course this Trunks, who again gives 120% to the category. Now he does have type disadvantage, but if you are bringing a friend future Gohan, you are going to get the extra boost to his attack and defense. So he could probably tank reasonably well. It might be not so good in the later stages, but if he's the only option you have to bring as a leader, he should still do reasonably well. The only problem with bringing this guy is because he is called Super Saiyan Trunks Future, there is a much better option for the team, who we will be discussing in more detail very shortly. So he's okay if you've got no other option. Also, I didn't actually bring up his page, but the new STR Whis that has just come out, I know a lot of people didn't really summon on Beerus' banner, but he is also a 120 lead for Bond of Master and Disciple. He'll be getting the damage debuff though, so he's not going to do a lot of damage, but he does have really good chance to dodge, so he's actually a reasonable choice for the leader as well. Because as long as you get lucky with the RNG, he can basically take 0 damage in the right circumstances, so he is a good choice as well. So then we have the physical LR Trunks, definitely a good option to bring. Obviously being an LR, super high stats, able to hit very hard. We see all the time in these EZAs that units that are normally good in other game modes anyway, if they are in the correct category and have type advantage for the EZA, then they are able to put out some pretty ridiculous damage. And as much as this Trunks is a little bit outdated, he's still going to be able to hit incredibly hard. He's always been useful because he has that built-in chance to crit, so I'm pretty sure I still have no dupes in mine, but even without them he has a 50% chance to crit all the time, and he does raise his defense by 30% for 3 turns regardless of whether you get his 12 or 18 key super, so he should be perfectly fine. And of course you can run him as part of a very powerful 1-2 combo with this guy. The reason why you probably don't want to be running the Tech Super Saiyan Trunks Future, because this guy is incredibly good. Even without the LR Trunks, of course, he gives 2 key 30% support to allies, and then he gets an extra 70% attack and defense as long as there are 2 more Vegeta family category allies on the team. So that includes himself, so as long as you are running like that LR Trunks or a Vegeta or something like that, he's going to get that buff, and he's going to be very, very good. And one thing that we've seen, even in category Super Battle Road, like the Hybrid Saiyan stage, these two together as a rotation are incredibly good both defensively and offensively. So if you can run both of them on the team, I would say you absolutely want to run them as one of your rotations, which I definitely will be doing for my playthrough. So then we have the Beerus. Now obviously he is the newest unit that's just come to Global. Again, a lot of people didn't summon for him, and those of you who may have tried the odd couple of multis maybe didn't get him. But he is of course an incredibly powerful unit. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you check it out. I did put up a video showing him off at 55% because I did only pull the 1 copy. And yeah, he can hit some pretty insane numbers. And of course, in an EZA where you can't heal, depending how it goes, if you can get to the 4th turn, chances are you'll probably be on 70% or less HP. And then of course you'll be able to use his active skill, and it'll probably just be GG, because when you get 4 turns in, you'll have probably done quite a lot of damage to him already. And yeah, once you activate this Beerus' active skill, even at 55%, he's able to hit attack stats like well over 6 or 7 million. So if you actually ever do get to use his active skill in this EZA, you probably just win right there and then. So if you do have him, he's definitely a useful unit to bring. He doesn't have the best links though around other people on the team. So if you are going to bring him, you definitely want to be careful who you bring with him, because you don't want to get stuck into a situation where he can't super attack. Although actually, now that I say that, rereading his passive, he's actually really good for this event, because he changes key spheres to rainbow and attacks effective against all types when there's a Realm of Gods enemy. So the attacks effective against all types doesn't matter, because he already is super effective against the Vegeta, but the Vegeta is in the Realm of Gods category. So this guy turning random orbs into rainbow is going to help him super. So even if you do get stuck in a situation where you don't have anyone with key links for him, he might be able to help himself super thanks to the orb changing ability. So that's really good. Then of course we have another Dokkan Fest exclusive that not a lot of people pulled for. This is a great category, right? This team building guide. We've got Future Gohan, Beerus and Piccolo, who are 3 units that a lot of people potentially don't have. Like, I, again, didn't do many summons for Piccolo, and I don't have him either. So if you do have him, he's definitely a good unit to bring on the team. He infinitely stacks his defense. He's never going to transform, because you're not going to have another Namekian character on the team, but he's still going to do well, and he foresees the enemy super attack, which, again, considering you can't heal in an easy A, knowing when he's going to super so you know which character you want to put in front of that attack is obviously going to be very useful. So if you do have him, he would be very good. And he has shocking speed as well, so I guess you could put him together with the Beerus if you did have both of them. But he is going to be another very solid option if you do have him. So then we have Gowasu and Zamasu. We're kind of going on to some of the other units now, like honourable mentions or support units. This guy being on the category is obviously really good to bring him on the team. He's going to give everyone a key buff and a defensive boost, so that's obviously going to help out. You can't seal, of course, in an easy A, so you're not going to be able to do that. They're not attacking an extreme class enemy, so they're not getting any sort of attack buff. So they're not going to deal a huge amount of damage, but they're just going to make it so that everybody else on the rotation takes less damage. And of course they do have that built-in chance to dodge, so they can fairly well keep themselves safe as well. So if you have these guys, you definitely want to be bringing them as one of the off-rotation units. Then we have this guy. So this guy definitely kind of fits more into the honourable mention. Like, if you're really struggling for a 6th unit, you could definitely bring this guy. He's INT, so he's not losing all of his damage, which is good. And then of course all of the 50% leads with their awakenings, they change orbs and pick up a nuking style passive. And this guy does raise his attack and defense for 9 turns on super, so it does stack. So even though he doesn't have type advantage, he's going to be able to get up to decent enough levels of defense that he's not going to take ridiculous amounts of damage from the Vegeta. So if you don't have a 6th option that you can think of straight away, this guy will definitely fit reasonably well. And then of course, if you did bring any other INT units, like if you're running a Future Gohan leader or a friend, then he's of course going to give a huge buff to those INT units as well. So he can help out the team that way. I think the team I'll probably end up running, aside from the Future Gohan friend, will be mostly physical, but he definitely can help out depending on the build of your team. So next we have this Trunks, who was added when Android 13 came out. He's been in the general SSR pool since then. I don't think I've actually pulled him, funnily enough. Despite all the summons that we've done since then, I don't think I've actually pulled this guy. But the good thing about him is, of course, he is a base form Trunks, so he doesn't get in the way of any of the other Super Saiyan versions that you might want to bring. He can hit decently hard. He does sacrifice some HP, which is not ideal, but he is going to be very good at dishing out a large amount of damage. So he's definitely another useful option to bring if you need more damage output on your team. And then finally, the other card I thought definitely worth mentioning is the physical transforming Vegeta. Obviously, he's been on a ton of banners lately, so I would imagine that most people probably have at least one copy of this guy. Obviously, the Easy A is not going to be incredibly long, so I'd imagine you're probably only going to get to Super Saiyan 2, maybe Super Saiyan God at a push. But I would imagine if you somehow manage to get him all the way up to blue, the enemy's going to be on such low health that this will be the turn that you win. Because remember, when he transforms into blue, he turns the entire field into physical orbs and then gets that huge attack buff per orb obtained. So if you somehow manage to get the event to last that long, this attack from Vegeta will absolutely end the event. So all of those units that we've mentioned are worth using. Obviously there's different options for the leader depending on what you have. Just having a quick look down. So obviously int units don't lose their damage, so Super Saiyan 2 LR Gohan will deal decent damage, but he's never been particularly good defensively, so he could definitely take a lot of damage. The Super Battle Road Gohan is pretty trash until he gets his EZA, which of course we won't have on Global, so I wouldn't say he's worth bringing at all. No other int units really stand out. This Whis is a support unit, so if you really want a unit to run alongside Beerus to help him link better, you could bring this guy, but he's not going to be super useful and he will take a ton of damage. Physical units, there isn't really anyone that... this Piccolo, I guess we didn't mention, is really good. After getting his EZA, he does give a huge defensive buff to everybody, as well as getting a nice buff himself per Master and Student bond. I keep calling it that because that's what the original JP translation was, but the bond of Master and Disciple, which of course the whole team is going to be. So he will actually be quite good. I might actually try him out on the team for one of the videos, because he's going to be getting a full buff. Yeah, it doesn't specify. There's no maximum. So he's going to be getting quite a lot of... I think it includes him, or it's per ally on the team, so maybe not. But at a bare minimum, this is going to be giving him an extra 120% and 6 key. And if it does include him, then it's going to be 140%. And I mean, the key doesn't matter because he's not an LR. But that means his stats are going to be pretty high in this particular event. And then of course I didn't really notice, but the other physical unit that we have down here, who himself is not the best unit, but if you really want to run Beerus, it might be useful to bring this guy. He's not that great by himself, but he activates most of Beerus's links, including Fierce Battle. So if you really want to bring Beerus as a big time damage dealer, this guy will be a really good link partner for him. So there you go, those are the main units that I think are worth taking into consideration. Obviously, like I said at the start, the easiest thing to do is filter your box by the category and see what kind of team you can put together. As always, feel free to comment in the comment section down below if you need any further help with team building or any ideas based on the units that you have, or you can feel free to join the Discord. The link for that will be in the description as well. We have sections for team building and stuff in there, and everybody is always very helpful. So if you do need any more advice, you can find help in both of those places. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. You can follow me on Twitch or join my Discord. The link is in the description below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.